Super Monkey Ball Deluxe is the result of a scrapped Super Monkey Ball 3 turned into a compilation album. If this game does it right, it'll be the definitive Monkey Ball and a marathon of Monkey Master Pizza. Does Super Monkey Ball Deluxe port Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 perfectly to PlayStation and Xbox? No. The low camera angle from 2 is present for all stages, making the first floors less elegant. The incentive to go fast and look ahead doesn't work when floors are tight, compact, and precise as a tightrope. The Xbox 360 control stick isn't nearly as precise as the GameCube's, and I don't suspect that the Xbox or PlayStation joysticks are much better. This means players can't move as slowly or turn as precisely as before. This change drives me crazy. It feels like coming home after a long weekend and you think that something's missing, but the moment you start looking for moved decorations, you trip on the carpet and stub your toe. In this game about precise performance, precision is punctured and pulverized to a less than perfect place. Prime example, compare floor 7, now called Exam C, on GameCube to Xbox. Notice how Xbox nudges constantly and violently and never finds a sweet spot on the control stick to make the turns. In comparison, GameCube nudges softly and quickly finds its sweet spot. These are both being played by the same person in the same environment, but the difference in precision is noticeable and uncomfortable. It makes certain stages feel less fair in difficulty. The real man's game of Expert through Master Extra is made harder due to less wieldy controls, and that's the core problem. Super Monkey Ball Deluxe wants to be a compilation. It wants to be a marathon of every Super Monkey Ball before, but due to the unwieldy controls, it just feels exhausting. Super Monkey Ball's overall design was compact and precise. Super Tukey Ball's overall design was a big 3D model show, but what does Deluxe do? It has the three-dimensionality and sometimes the sense of scale of 2, but it feels more static, more erratic. The levels are hit and miss. Super Monkey Ball Deluxe's new levels don't evoke a sense of challenge or awe in me. They don't make me feel very strongly about anything. Some strangely annoy me, but that comes back to the controls. New levels are skinned into past audiovisual packages, mostly desert, cooking pot, and bubbly washing machine. The fact that Deluxe levels are distributed evenly between past stages contribute to a feeling of seamless integration. The new levels do not stand out. It has that weird DLC feeling where you don't fully understand the artistic direction of the extra content in comparison to where the core game goes. Deluxe includes a lot of mazes which run the timer: Lunchbox, Jolt Channel, Octagonal, Sewer, Tilt Maze, and Chaos. Every maze is interesting once, but as soon as the answer reveals itself, some become tediously boring. That's Lunchbox, Jolt Channel, and Sewer. Other mazes have a charming characteristic or are otherwise challenging which keep them from losing memorability on the 10th playthrough, such as Dodge Maze, Chaos, and arguably Tilt Maze. When the level isn't an iteration of the Mousetrap Maze, the sense of, how the hell do I roll a ball across this, is weaker. Deluxe levels clearly convey their challenge, and that's not objectively a bad thing, but it does reduce the intrigue and perceived cunning required of them. Because 99% of all new stages take place in Beginner and Advanced, these levels have little raw difficulty to make up for this. The hardest Deluxe level is like Dodge Maze, and that's not very fun. The most memorable levels in Super Monkey Ball games are the Master levels, because they're completely fucking insane. That's why half the footage on Steeb 2 is late game levels, because they are the most memorable ones. Deluxe is the hardest Monkey Ball game, not because of its new content, but because of copious old content combined with crappy controls. Some floors, see, we're going back to the controls thing. This is what happens. This is the thing. If there's one core problem, then the whole game breaks apart. Then little nitpicks will add up to create a 1-hour diatribe. But it's just a core problem. And if that core problem was fixed, I wouldn't give a fucking shit. If Super Monkey Ball Deluxe was on the GameCube and switched engines between Super Monkey Ball and Super Monkey Ball 2 in its levels, I would not give a fucking shit about any of this. I would eat up the new levels right quick, and I would just skip to the end of this video where I praise them. But because the controls are broken, the dam is broken, and now I'm simply looking for every little problem with this game to pick through. Deluxe looks graphically sharper since it's on a more powerful console, the Xbox. Don't know about PS2. But because the graphics are improved, the visual aesthetic looks more plastic. A slight tweaking in the color scheme might have fixed this. Shut the fuck up, what are you, a critic? I'm gay, and dead. Some floors feel obnoxious to play through. The boring mazes, arc bridges, stream, catwalk, coil ramp, and treads don't feel fun to traverse. There are moving parts to them, and they have unique structures, but the structures don't look cool or feel fun to interact with. There is a lot of flat ground, which simply goes uninteracted with due to the lack of incentive to go there or a lack of ability with the Deluxe experience. There are bananas lying around in escalators, but single bananas aren't incentive enough to go so far out of one's way and risk losing time bonus. As far as I'm concerned, Edge is a straight line. Everything else is symmetric aesthetic. Wait a minute, both Monkey Ball 1 and 2 have symmetric aesthetic as well. Paperwork, checker, coffee cup, wavy option, curvy option, and flock all have extraneous nanners which I never go for. Why am I only thinking about this now? The only problem I have with this game is the controls. If it was a perfect port, I would eat it up. I would completely eat it up. Everyone already knows the controls are shit. I'm contributing nothing to the conversation. Composition is the most boring level. The path is marked. Follow the path. The remainder of the level is simply boxy surface to fill out the shape. This port ruined my balls. The sound for ball rolling plays not on loop set to one's current velocity. It now plays a single sound bite every time the ball hits the ground. It sounds fucking awful, and it weakens my sense of kinesis. Sometimes II's fur doesn't load between levels. There goes that Nintendo polish. One of the few added stages to Expert pushes all other floors back one, except for bonus floors which are uncomfortable, which means that floors which were designed for one aesthetic are now pushed into a completely different and unfitting one. Look at Spiral Bridge in the whale skin. It looks wrong. Look at gaps in the desert. Isn't that weird? They clearly resembled ice cubes before, but this looks simply abstract. Bull open? That one looks alright. But Serial Jump in Clock Tower looks disgusting. Serial Jump is smooth and round, and it evokes anti-gravity with its jumps. Set in a brown, earthy world of man-made squares is the worst thing that could have been done to the best level in the game. Was Asterisk a 7-second level with a neat design worth the rearranging and aesthetic downgrading? I phrased that question in such a way that your brain would chime in, no. It looks like the funky Space Jam from Steeb 1 was removed for copyright infringement? What did he mean by this, Fandom Wiki? You're not an actual legitimate source. Half this script doesn't work because I've been going off script ranting about core problems. Looks like I'm being the most negative I've ever been on this channel. I'm going to counterbalance that by praising every individual stage which succeeded in engaging me, because I do like this game. Escalators, although I called it out earlier, gives some efficient tension. Those nanners on the floor aren't worth collecting, but the bunch on the edge is tempting. It's tempting because it's a banana bunch, and because it's incredibly easy to pick up. There's a decision the player must make. Will they take the free nanners and ride the slow escalator back up, or will they skip it for the time bonus? Short game or long game? Lives or points? Players can reach a compromise by pressing the fast forward button, speeding up the escalators before collecting the bunch, but that still costs some time. This is a trade-off. This is a meaningful choice. These are things which are present in a video game. Swirl presents a different tension. This stage takes approximately 45 seconds to beat. Through multiple plays, one can discover that if they move at the right angle and speed, they can glide over the chest-high wall and skip to the end of the level, earning a succulent score multiplier. However, if they move too quickly on their way out of the spiral past the halfway point, they'll glide over the chest-high walls and lose progress. I don't know what the right angle and speed is required to skip, but I'm trying. I'm feeling. Houndstooth is cool. It's like, whoa, checkerboard, dude. I like the safety net at the bottom. It reduces the punishment to about 1/4 of a life and the coveted time bonus, but it still feels demoralizing to fall through and have to climb back up and start over. Should video games have live systems, or have they been irrelevant since 1996? Vote now in the straw poll below! Dungeon is clever because it hides its layout from the minimap with a ceiling. Also, as far as I'm aware, the only way to beat the dungeon is to skip over the corner of a pit. That's clever, and it makes players move their balls in a way which they wouldn't expect to navigate a 3D space. This is a Monkey Ball maze done right. There are at least 2 things which make it interesting to interact with. Paraboloid is the worst bonus stage because it seems impossible to collect every banana within the time limit, and there's no goal ring, which would complete the stage, so players are stuck until they run the timer, unless they can bounce out of the bowl. In that way, it's fun to hate. Players desperately crash against the confines of this almost prison, praying for a fast escape. The fact that I'm moaning every time I play this level is a sign that it evokes a feeling. Now, saying love to hate does sound kinda like a BuzzFeed, I'm trying to find something positive in a negative thing kind of phrase, but let me defend myself here. Attempting to escape Paraboloid is fun. Gaining momentum, gaining height from bouncing off of the corners of bowls is fun. It feels good, kinetically. The sound the ball makes when it crashes against the floor and the sparks, the little stars that go, feels good. And when you finally bounce out of the bowl, it feels awesome. It feels like you beat the level in a way that the level might not have been intended to be beaten. It unintentionally gives the feeling of, how the hell do I roll a ball through this? Jump Ramp is visceral and makes me appreciate the smacking sound of the ball colliding with floor. It also teaches new players in no uncertain terms how to perform the equivalent of a jump in Monkey Ball. It expands a player's moveset, opening opportunities for sick mad skips, bro. Like, seriously? Where Jump Ramp teaches ramp bumping, it does not require it. Concentric requires the bump jump chumps. It requires the skill in an ever-escalating pyramid of difficulty. The semicircular form, compared to Jump Ramp's square shape, gives Concentric a unique and fitting aesthetic within Bubbly Washing Machine. And any level with the Bubbly Washing Machine skin is an instant 10 out of 10 in my book. Scrolls has a great sense of momentum and danger, even though the most dangerous thing about it is hitting the side of the goalpost at the end. Cliff succeeds in evoking vertigo, making players cling to the wall for dear life. Halfway through, however, there is a long curve which tickles the perfectionist with impatience. They feel safe, and they're tempted to speed up, but if they keep that speed up, they won't be able to make the acute corner turns later and will fall. I have no one to blame but myself. This level is a narrative. Stadium features multiple paths to the goal and a unique design which tickles the brain. Is this supposed to represent something? Is this an accurate rendition of a sports stadium? Is this supposed to be a particular sports stadium, is what I mean by that? Also, it's possible to skip all intended paths to the goal by jumping on the bumps. Any level with a skip is an instant 10 out of 10. DNA is the best level. It rewards spatial awareness by hiding the warp goal and nanner bunches on the opposite spiral. This is the power of blast processing. This is the pinnacle of video games in the third dimension. This is as real as it gets. It's in the genes. Yeah, it feels satisfying to discover the alternate path, along with the base skill required to reach it. Every platform is thick and solid. Destiny, although a reskin of Nintendo, evokes a completely different feeling to that level. Destiny removes the cube-shaped cage surrounding the stage, and that yawning void is intimidating. It's somehow much easier to get stuck in one of the dice's nubs than it is one of the GameCube's ports. The size of the surrounding area makes the dice feel smaller than the GameCube. It makes me feel small. It makes me feel. It's good shit. In the end, Super Monkey Ball Deluxe doesn't even matter. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it's just a port of two good games with some mediocre levels added in. It's a level pack. Would you pay $10 for a level pack? I mean, you already did pay $10 for a level pack with Super Monkey Ball 2. Super Monkey Ball's the same game as Super Monkey Ball 1. Would you pay $10 more for a slightly less good level pack? Is this fucking Skyrim? Is this fucking Halo with this fucking level packs? Is it gonna make it free later, but they're not because it's a physical disc? Deluxe, Dick Licks.